All right, so my name is Sage Lewis. I would classify myself as an entrepreneur, but for most of my career I was a marketer, and I bought this building for my marketing agency, Sage Rock. So we have like a core 3 people right now in our business, but I always rent it out. This upper floor is completely rented out at the moment with all kinds of businesses. So we have a vintage store, we have a real estate broker, a bookkeeping service that sells herbs, and all kinds of interesting stuff. But we didn't really have anything much to do with the basement, the lower level. It's a pretty rough spot. And for a while I was holding auctions there, so I became an auctioneer. And so I did that. And I was having auctions downstairs, and during that time I also attempted to run for mayor of Akron, and obviously that didn't work out. But it did get me connected with the homeless community. I ran as an independent, and I think I needed something like 1,100 signatures. I can't remember but it was a lot. And so to get signatures, you stand on the street all the time, and the only people that really wanted to talk to me were the homeless. And so I would spend hours on the street talking to the homeless, and I really got into their story. After that running for mayor thing, I started connecting with Project Rise, which is a group that's dedicated to homeless kids in Akron and Summit County. But I was still working with the homeless. I would hire them for auctions and that sort of thing. And when you are in an auction, you end up with junk. There's stuff that's left over. And I was just going to start taking it to Goodwill. But the people that I was working with said, well, could we try and sell it? So we started something called the Second Chance Store. And that was just a little room downstairs, and it's completely run by the homeless, and it's more of a donation center than a store. So you can take anything and make a donation. And so that is still going on today. They've moved that to another location, or in the building. But a little bigger and nicer, I think. But at that same time, the Metro Parks was building the Freedom Trail, and this was in January, and it was January 7th, 2017 that they kicked out the homeless from where they were building the Freedom Trail, and they had nowhere to go. And so a couple of them asked if they could stay here. And I mean, it was really cold, and so I didn't say no, and that's pretty much the essence of my whole philosophy of working with the homeless, is just not saying no. So they stayed here, and then a couple more people started staying here, and then spring came, and they started putting up some tents. It's strange to me that people that there are people that all they want is a tent in America. It's bizarre to me that is a reality, but it is a reality. I mean, it's as third world as it comes. I mean, we're not even talking about tin shacks here. We're talking about the low-end Walmart level tents that these people are living in, and they're grateful for it. And that's, again, it's shocking, but it's necessary. We have approximately, I don't even know, 13 tents, 30 people in our backyard, and we now have called it Second Chance Village. It is an alcohol-free, drug-free facility that is geared towards taking people to the next step of their lives. So we're literally pulling people out of the woods. Just last week we pulled a guy out of the woods by the name of Herman. I don't know how old Herman is. He's got to be in his late 60s or 70s, living in the woods with no shelter, not a coat, nothing. And there are people like that all over America and Akron. So you have 2 groups here. You have people coming from prison, and you have people coming from the woods. And so some have a lot of structure, and some have no structure, which is interesting. But they're still outside of society. Either way, they're coming in. And so we have found that there are people that don't want to live in the woods, and there are people that want to get back into society, but they can't get into housing. Either they don't have the funds, they're on the list and they're waiting, or they're just not mentally ready. So we are kind of society light. We are bringing people back into a community, and we are working with them on skills, community-based skills like sharing and communication skills and dealing with anger issues, and so we're just trying to be a place that helps people acclimate back to society a little bit so that they can do what they need to do in a stable, safe environment.